big stand of evergreen trees coming all the way down at an angle. That's what I'm going to do. And we can pick out a few little individuals and give him some arms and some legs and stuff. Someone will just stand out over here. Could have brought this colour a bit further down, it just stood out more then. But I don't mind, I want it to go slightly up a bit anyway. I don't want it to just go down straight at a dead end. You can get a bit of light, and just inside here, right, so I'm just continuing on with the lighter blue in the areas where the darker blue is as well, and up in here, just put a few up tops as well. Just when it's starting to run out, it's a good time to do these tops. You're not going to get too much paint and it won't ruin these effects. Just look like the tops of the trees. Just here and there though, not everywhere. Right, a bit more of that light blue again. And then just up in here, I just want to make it a bit lighter underneath. It's a bit lighter now. Looks a bit more misty then, you see. Just in there I want to do that. I'll bring a bit more black down into that as well because I don't want too much of that. Just getting that balance right. I'm happy. I'm just going to get some dark now. The blues and crimson and black again. Same tone, bit of sap green. Good dark colour basically. Just up in here, I'm just going to redo these a bit darker. It's mixed a bit with that white for the mist. So if it mixes, you can just reload. And sometimes what I like to do for this, if it's quite a bit of paint you're going into, I'll pull both sides through, push and get a little ridge on the end of the brush. And then with that, it'll cancel out all of that white. It won't pick it up. It'll be too strong. See how it's standing out now? There. Doesn't take long though before you need that ridge again. Especially when you're going up into these misty areas. All the white that you've used makes it difficult. So you just keep getting that ridge and going back in, and you get that lovely sharp edge every time. It'll be nice and dark to give that contrast. Separate this area from this area really well, it will. There. I'm going to just gently tap some of that dark now. Down into here a bit. Just there and there. But still misty, but just don't want to lose that dark. There. Something like that, I'm happy with that. We've done a lot of work with the fan brush on this. Right, I'm just down in here, I'm going to have some snow. So I'm going to wipe off all that paint. Get it all off. Go into some straight titanium white. Because I've got that dark colour already on the brush, it should give me a lovely snow colour. Because it's a black canvas, this stands out really well. It's more or less a bluey grey, but when you put it on here it'll look white. I want it to be in the shadows first, so what I tend to do, try and pick out a few areas where maybe there, where the snow's coming out at first, and then have an area here which goes up into there. And what I'm doing, I'm starting to run out of paint, which is what I want. I'm also gonna, this is gonna go up here, so this will help me lose a lot of that paint there. See it mixing with that blue that's underneath as well. That's nice. It's only in the shadow, you don't want to be too bright. This is too bright at the moment, down here. So I'm just going to allow it to mix with some of this. Let it just blend away into them woods, disappear off into the woods. Don't want it too distinct. Maybe pour a bit of that into there. It'll get darker all the time, it mixes with that base colour, you see. Maybe even go in a bit further. Put a little bump in there. So there's a little shadow. See that dark shadow that I've left in there? It's important to do that. And let it blend with this darker blue. That's how the sort of effect I want in there. Now I can get a bit of that blue if I want as well. Pick a bit of it up, and then I can just go into here with it and soften this and make it not as white. A bit more like this is in the shadows too, but it will be actually the slightest bit brighter than that. There. Because I want it to actually come down here and in front of it. So I'll go right over it and bring it through. Don't kill all the dark that's in there. Your best friend. Tiny amounts of paint. I'm not using a lot of paint here. Use any brush for this, 1-inch brush. It don't matter. Just block some of that white in. It Just leave these little dark areas now and again. There's a lot of rocks and all sorts of stuff going on down in here. So let's just put in that. Up there. Now if I just get a tiny bit of the lighter blue, just in here, that'll help to separate between that back layer and this layer. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to actually pull a bit of that down there, let that blend back. Now it's starting to blend again with the darker colour. I can start to blend that out. A lot of fun to do for years, this painting. I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been, it's took me back to Alaska. That's the main thing. I just love painting Alaska. It's a gorgeous place. Blend that out. There. And then there you go. There. Just as smooth as silk when you do this with oils. It really is. It just goes as smooth as silk. And it's good that that highlight part is there, because the light coming down there, it's going to be a bit more in shadow. Maybe just a bit more of the bright. A few layers in there. Now you notice where I put these, you probably can't tell on camera, but it's a raised surface. I put a medium on there. It's a texture medium. And now where that, there's a little ridge there, I'm just going to go over that with some lighter white. See that, how it picks it up on top and leaves a lovely shadow behind. I just love that. Oh yes, I'm happy with that. Works well. And then maybe get a tiny bit more of the brighter stuff. And then maybe it comes, there's a rock just there, full of snow, covered. And again, I'm going to let it blend up here, get a bit of darker blue with it. There, that's better. Keep getting that darker blue, and it gives you these shadows, the lovely shadows that we're always chasing. Put that in there. Where all these little indentations are, that's where you put the snow ridges, and it just works beautifully. A little ridge just about there. Just highlight the top of that ridge. Just hitting it on the tops. Really stand out lovely then. Right, happy. So where we put this here, just wipe my brush off. Right. Just going to make this tone a little bit more muted for the snow. Just a bit more muted than it is. It's a bit too blue. So by adding a little bit black in with it, I want it to be a bit more blue in there, which is fine. It's totally fine as that. So I can just blend some of this other tone in on top of that. And it'll stop it just being as blue as it is. I want the blue obviously for the shadows, But you just don't want it to overtake everything, colour wise. Right, it's a bit blue, a bit too blue. I'm just going to stick some colour over it and match this a bit more then. Good, good. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have some more trees coming in. It's like you're going downhill, doesn't it now? Down to here. Says how you can play tricks like that, I love it. Right, so I'm just going to get all the good dark colours again. Green, blues, crimson, black. Need a good amount of it now for this. What's that green? Yeah. Right, chiseled edge again, and then just up in here, maybe not up in there. I'll just do it from here first. I'll have a couple of trees, standard trees, just coming through here. So I'll just put them in so first, just like this. Very, very loose. It's only that top that I'm really concerned about. So I'm trying to get some nice tops for some of these evergreen trees. Nice sharp top to them. That's it. And then chisel edge, and I'm just going to come in here and just touch until it bends the fan brush. Just want it to bend a tiny bit. There. Press with more pressure, the lower down you go. Just apply a bit more pressure. I like to take my time with these. I don't like to rush with them. An upward motion. When you run out of paint, you twizzle the brush around and you use the opposite side. There. Block them in underneath at the base. Just some little evergreen tree. We'll do a couple of these as well in here. Just put a few little edges on there for them. I just love painting evergreen trees. I always have. A lot of fun. If it don't work, just reload your brush. It's like I'm going to end up with quite a big tree here. If it don't work, you see, I just make it a tiny bit bigger. But that's irrelevant, it doesn't matter. We want a few big trees in our world, don't we? Doesn't have to be too perfect. Some indications. It's easier the lower down you go. The lower you get, it gets easier to do. There. One standing out above all the rest. Maybe just pick them out, the ones you think are going to work. Like there. It's a nice one. The ones that stood up highest usually is what I do, what I use. Right. Back down to here. Got a bit carried away up there then, didn't I? Bushes, trees. Adding a bit of black to that just for the bases, so that it's nice and dark at the base. Right. Couple of little ones at the top, and then as you come down, apply more pressure. Don't want to mess about or fiddle with them too much. They work better when you just go for it, basically. Just go for it. Because of that snow behind, look how well they stand out. That's just what we wanted. Growing on us. Some people start at bottom of a tree and work their way up. I like to start at top of a tree and work my way down. Just down to individual preference, what you prefer to do. Couple of tops just popping up there. And this one's a bit of a bigger one, just on the edge. Just up in here I want a few bushes. I can put some snow on them. Maybe in between there we can have one. In between these rocks. Just a little one there. Maybe a bigger one there. And just pushing up, same as I do with trees. Just push up on that corner of the fan brush. Reload again. Some fresh colour. Oh yeah. There's like good fern fronds for fern bushes. There's the fan brush. Really good. There's this little bush that stood up there. Right, let me think. Right, from dark colour now. I'm going to bring a rock in from this side. So for that I'm just going to go down, just there. Good dark colour. And then up. clean the brush off, go back to getting your good dark paint. I'm going to get a ridge this time so it goes through all this white and stays dark. Get a good ridge of paint. You get a bit of Van Dyke brown in that as well. Bit of Van Dyke to it. Just a good dark colour. But if you put the brown in when you come to highlighting it a bit, it'll work better. Just look at that. Nice little rock. Get some white. Get burnt sienna. White and burnt sienna together. And then put it on first, just let it mix with that colour. That's all I'm after, just let it mix with it. See, it's really bright here. As soon as you mix it with that colour, it changes. Do it much brighter than I want it actually, and then go back with the darks afterwards, back to front, because quite a bit of colour on there and I want it to mix with it a bit. So I want to put some snow on here, so I don't want brown snow, so you've got to be careful of that. Just a bit of brown on that rock. You can also just use that same tone and just here and there on the rock face, you can just pull a bit of that colour in. Just here and there though. Not too much. That's it. Just touch. Drag it over the surface. And it just picks up a bit of that colour tone. Just a little bit, don't know that. Put it on its side sometimes. Just do it like that. Not on the snow, obviously. Keep it away from the snow. Yeah, that's enough. Don't want a lot. Right, now I'm back to cleaning my brush and I'm gonna put some darks back in. Saying that while I've got that colour on there, let's just use it there. So I'll put the colour on first and I'll come back with a knife and highlight, put some dark in, and then highlights will stand out nicely then. Right. Good and dark colour. I'm just going to graze over the surface of that. Just like graze over there. And those high points that you made with the stuff I put underneath, the medium, picks it up on them high points and it makes it easier for you to get it to look nice. Love it. It's a lot of fun. lot of fun doing this. Just put these darks in. Give you a nice sharp edge as well. With these darks. You will. Nice edge on it. See the lovely patterns it gives you there. It's wonderful. I'm going to use a bit of that. In fact, now what? Just remove it from the palette so I can go over this gently. See one hair and some hair, just like you do in the snow on the mountains. Really gentle. Just pick it up on the eye point where you want it. There. I want it pretty dark. Don't want it too light. Right, so I'm back to my snow. And just in here, I'll touch and it'll pick up some of that colour. And then I'll drag it over here so it doesn't mix with the brown and contaminate. See, the blue overpowers the brown, so using it in that way is good. Put a little shadow behind where that is. In here. And make it look like a nice little shadow just in there, so it stands out when I highlight in front of it. Something like that. And then do this and put more pressure on. Apply more pressure. This is where we're at now. We're at a good stage. We've got some good variation in here. Some nice snow. Used some of the highlights and the darks to create some nice things going on in the foreground. So I'm not too far from finished with this one. I'm just going to paint down here a little bit. Maybe put one more tree in. I'm going to call it done. So let's get some of this colour for the snow. I'm going to actually put some more stars in yet, just a bit brighter, a few stars here and there. And I'm going to put some of this reddy colour into the snow, just a tiny bit of it, not a lot, you don't need a lot. So just where it needs highlighting a bit more, see it's in shadow here, the light's going to hit it. Just going to put some more little highlights in for that, and just brighten it up a tiny bit. Just in there, and let it go back in its shadow, nice and soft. Pick up that colour, and I'll instantly happen for you if you start at the right hand side. There. And bring that down. Leaving that side for now. Now, just up in here, snow. So I'm going to use that dark shadow there to my favour. Now just go right through. And let that just blend out. See up here? It's a bit more in the shadow though. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to pick up some of this colour, which is great. Just what I wanted. Because now I can darken this off slightly, just under there. It's not too bright then. And then just allow that to just mix together. In shadows, you really don't need a lot of light. Just a little bit here and there. Same again here. Just going to get a tiniest bit. Little hill just coming from behind there. Leave some dark. Something going on in there. Right, so what I've done, I've just done a couple of bushes and trees, so I'm just going to show you how to actually do that. So just up in here, I'm just going to touch, let it mix with a bit of that base colour so it's not quite as bright at first. And I'll just put a couple up in there, a couple of little highlights. And I just push up an upward motion like so, and that's it. Just in there. You have to reload your brush quite often because you're going over thick paint when you do this. Just a few little indications of some snow just on there. I mean, everything's thawing out at this time of year. So as you can see, there's not much snow up on mountains. There's a little bit of snow on the floor, but not much. All these rocks have just got a little bit of snow on. So it's just thawing out, everything's thawing out. So then again, I'm just going to come up in there and just put a few little branches in. Turn your brush over when one side runs out, and then you can highlight with the other. Not as much at the base, just a little bit or something like that. And I'm just going to pick out one here that we've got. So we've got 3 that are highlighted. Reload again. Just sort the top of that out. A couple of tiny little fronds just at the top, and then as you come down, start to see a bit more, just a bit of snow on them. There's only a few, you notice most of them are, it's already thawed out as the snow. And what we've done, we've just used a bit of the sky colour, just on a 1-inch brush, and I'll just show you that now. So I'm just going to get a bit of white, the red from the sky colour that we made, tap that out onto the bristles, and just up in here, I've just gently put that in and blend it out, just in there, around this centre area of this, and it looks like there's some of that light blowing down onto here as well. Not a lot because it's quite dark, just enough so that you know that there's some of it in there. Basically you can see just in here subtly where I've put it, but you don't want to overkill with that. It's easy to overdo it. I'm just going to bring that down there. Let's try that. There, that's better. Just to put a tiny bit of white with it, because it's all the time blending with this colour that's underneath, you see. Yeah, brilliant. Well, I've really enjoyed painting this for you all. I hope you've enjoyed the instructions and everything. Let me know what you think. Send me some comments and subscribe. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. Right, so I've just got some blue and some white on my brush. I'm just using this little liner brush. Just up in here, I'm going to pick out a few bright stars. A little bit brighter. And this is more or less just the finishing touches. I'll put them on at first, and when it's dried you can neaten them up, tidy them up or whatever, but I've just got blue and white. No thinners, no nothing. And then you just go in and just touch. Especially up in there, there's loads, but these will be a bit brighter. It's delicate. Just a few that are standing out a bit better, even in here. That's it. I hope they stand out to you. A few stars. And if you look very, very closely, I'll show you now. If you look very closely, all the ones that I did before are still there. Even down in here, you can see the little stars. Put one up in there, so that stands out. And as you come back, you start to get it. There you go. So this is a close-up that I'm going to do now for you all, so you can see it properly. The colours are a little bit different to what the camera's showing. Glacier up there. All these lovely details, the little trees, the highlights on there standing out lovely, the rock, and I'm just blending it down to dark basically, because it's a dark canvas. It looks good when you do that. There we go. The contrast between this mountain and the light really works well. I'm happy with how that turned out. Right guys, I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon.